the greatest Army player since Pete Dawkins.
Pass is caught. Touchdown, Houston, and who else but Nathaniel Tank Dell.
McAllister, Deuce is loose. He will score. Touchdown, Ole Miss. 80 yards.
Inside the Eyeball, presented by the Shreveport-Bossier City Advocate, is brought to you by Origin Bank. With a team mentality combining trusted advisors and innovative technology, Origin Bank builds unwavering loyalty by connecting people to their dreams. Every great relationship has an origin story. Start yours today at origin.bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC. And by Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola Bottling Co. United of Shreveport is proud to be the longtime beverage partner of the Independence Bowl. Powerade and Body Armor are the official sports drinks of the Independence Bowl. Powerade. Hydrate your hustle with 50% more electrolytes versus the leading sports drink. Body Armor. It's more than just a sports drink. It has potassium-packed electrolytes, antioxidants, and has no official sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. And by the Shreveport-Bossier City Advocate. When it comes to sports in Shreveport-Bossier, the story starts and ends with Roy Lang III. Read Roy every day in the Shreveport-Bossier City Advocate, Louisiana's fastest-growing news website, only at ShreveportBossierAdvocate.com. Welcome to the Inside the Eyeball podcast presented by the Shreveport-Bossier City Advocate. Eric Evenson, Art Carmody, Roy Lang with you. As always, we have a special guest. By the way, we have a new podcast set up. I'm still getting used to the podcast arms. I feel like Art on the radio show right now. You can't figure out the podcast arms. Yeah. So new setup, but we have a special guest, Sarah Giglio, the new chair, 2025 chair of the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl. Sarah, thank you for joining us. I'm still getting used to the, I'm trying to turn to talk to you, but I feel like I'm stuck here.
The mic will be fine. You just talk.
Okay. I'm going to pull Sarah's a little closer.
I was going to say, do I need to pull this or? Okay.
There we
All right.
Yeah, that's
really
better. All right. Now we're good. Sarah, thank you for joining us. It's been, I think, we talked about before, 5 days or 6 days in chairmanship so far. How's it going?
At about a week. I don't think I've destroyed anything yet.
I feel like it's very hard to destroy stuff, but I think you're doing a good job so far. You have a firsthand view of some chairmanship with your husband Trey.
That's correct.
Any words of advice he gave you beforehand?
He constantly gives me advice.
He gives me advice still.
You're not even chair anymore, are you?
No, but I did get an up-close look at his year, when he was chairman in 2018. We were obviously married at that time, so I was sort of a tag-along for all of his stuff. And now he gets to be mine.
Yeah.
All of these things.
Yeah.
The one thing about that, so you saw what he went through. It's obviously, I think people just think, oh, chair, it's, it's a fun, this and that. Obviously, there's some stress involved. In the Independence Bowl, there's always something that is going to be stressful. So see him going through that, and then to see what Claire went through, 10 days before the game was supposed to happen, and you're next.
Right.
Did you ever get any cold feet about this?
Yeah, also had a front row seat to last year.
Yeah.
No cold feet. But you're right. There is, it's never easy to be chairman. There's always going to be something that comes up. Mm-hmm. But I think, seeing the past and how everybody's handled their situations has given me a little bit more confidence to know that between me and everybody on the executive committee and the board and the staff here, we'll get through anything. Just hit those bumps in the road every now and then.
So, I don't know if a lot of people know this. It's obvious. It's an important year. I know you know this. It's an important year for the Independence Bowl. There's a lot. The conference tie-ins. Last year, the conference tie-ins. Last year of the ESPN agreement. Last year of title sponsor agreement. So the way that was designed when all those were signed in 2020 was for, to have that stability through 2025 and, do all that. So it's a busy year for you as chair. What are your goals in your year as chair? And I know Trey kind of went through a lot of this same stuff in his year as chair. So it's kind of funny that both you had to go through the same kind of timeline
Right. So obviously one of the big goals is, our sponsorship with Radiance. This is the last year of that contract, and we're hoping, that continues. So we're already doing what we need to do on that front. They've been a wonderful sponsor, and so hopefully they will continue. So we've already started working on what we need to work on there. And then, as far as the conference agreements, negotiations go, that's something that, yes, this year will sort of be the time that we firm those things up. But those things have been in the works, as y'all know, for years, building those relationships and stuff. So we've been working on that for a long time. It just kind of happens to all come to a head in my year. Yay, me.
Yeah. Along those lines, I've obviously from a totally different perspective, but covering from a journalistic side the different title sponsors and the transitions and this and that. Maybe I'm naive, but you would think as I get older, I sort of get more skeptical, so it surprises me that I feel this way. But I feel like, I'm not talking about how much money they've paid or anything, but I just feel like the synergy between Radiance and the Independence Bowl has been some of the best, if not the best, that I've seen. And that's not knocking any other title sponsor or anything, any other agreement. But you could tell the end of the road was coming for some of the title sponsors, and you pretty much knew they weren't going to be around for a renewal. Right. This is just me talking.
I can speak to that, and Trey remembers that too.
This just seems to me like, and I'm not saying it's a done deal or whatever, if you're going to up the price, it just seems like this is a good relationship moving into that transition or re-up, whatever it's going to be.
Sorry, I didn't know if you wanted to say anything. Art.
No, I was just going to add, you're absolutely right, and Sarah is very qualified to speak on this as well because she's been involved for so long. And I would like to add too, I mean, Sarah was, I think, a few years ago was Volunteer of the Year, which is a very prestigious award that the foundation gives out, and just shows how much she's been involved, not just where she is now as chairwoman, but day to day volunteering whenever she's asked to do something. Always, hand up, I'll take care of it, and doing that. But no, you're absolutely right. You look at a few of the title sponsors we've had in the past, and the contracts were strategically set up as 2 years with options kicking in, and you always felt at the end of the second year that there was really no intent of picking up those options. They were using the bowl to build their brand, and they're going to move on and do other things. And with Radiance Technologies, I think it was one of the last things that I did as chairman before Frank Auer took over in 2020. As he kind of brought that relationship over to us. It's been a great relationship.
It has been, and we actually, in one of our recent conversations with the folks at Radiance, we're talking about how glad we are. Both sides are very glad that we've made this a 5-year contract when it started, because I think it's been mutually beneficial for everyone. And yes, I cannot sing their praises enough. They've been a wonderful title sponsor. Really.
And I don't think it's. The talk in Shreveport has always been the Independence Bowl in the past has struggled to keep title sponsors. Mm-hmm. But if you take a look around the bowl world, that's been a pretty big problem throughout, the 41 bowls. I think I have a spreadsheet on my computer. I think that the Independence Bowl right now, I think we are like 15th or 14th. In terms of the longest title sponsor
with a 5-year deal.
In the bowl year, in the bowl deal, with a 5-year deal, and if Radiance stays on, I think the longest one in Independence Bowl history was pulling a Weed Eater for 9 years.
Right.
So just that stability has been really really helpful, and like Art said, there's when they came on, it was, we want to do this for 5 years. We want to provide that. And, we don't want the questions of, okay, is this really a 2-year deal? Is this really a 3-year deal? What is this? So that's been, that's been great to have.
To give the fans a little insight, when it comes to renegotiating or negotiating a deal to begin with, are there lawyers negotiating? Is this just Independence Bowl people dealing face-to-face with Radiance people? How is that process?
Well, I'm a lawyer, but
we have lawyers. We have lawyers.
Apparently, yes, there is at least some legal involved. Although it's not what contracts is not really what I do. Right. So I mean, it is primarily whoever the chairman is, regardless of whether you're an attorney or not, and Missy and other staff members just kind of negotiating and seeing where both sides need to land. Obviously there's a big part of that is financial. And another part of it is what we get with the conference tie-ins. One, the cost of that, but two, the exposure. If you're looking at, depending on the conference, you may be looking at exposure in different areas of the country as well. And I know that we had a good setup this last cycle for Radiance that they really liked. So.
Yeah, I know they've talked about how the Pac-12 agreement helped reach their brand into the West Coast, which they had never had any exposure out there. So there's a lot of different factors. Sarah, backing up, I wanted to talk about you coming into the Independence Bowl Foundation. We've talked, about moving forward, but how did you become involved? Why did you want to become involved, and what kind of drove you to then getting more involved in, into leadership, chairmanship, all of that?
So as previously mentioned, I'm married to Trey.
Yeah.
So Trey was in the lineup when we got married in 2014, in the lineup to become chairman. And so I was coming around, obviously, to all those events when we were newlyweds. I've always loved college football. Well, since I went to college, I've loved college football. And so I enjoyed coming around and doing those things. And then, the question became, did I want to get on the board? And I thought, yeah, that would be fun. And then as sort of time progressed and my involvement progressed, the question became, would I want to go into the lineup for chairman? And I said, yeah. We'll see if I regret it. No, I'm just kidding.
I always like to ask chairs, because you guys have to go through all of the game management, hospitality, special events, all of our branches. Which one did you enjoy the most?
I think probably hospitality is the most rewarding.
That's a common answer.
I don't know. My stint on hospitality.
Hospitality would not be Art's favorite. I can tell you that.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I don't know. There was a lot of late nights and,
so,
hauling bags of ice, to.
Flats of bottled water.
Yeah. Hey, we're out of this. Go to Sam's and get. Yeah,
So
that was one of the first things I did, though. So
I think the most interesting one was game management, because you get
that's
down
cool.
to the nuts and bolts of what goes into a football game, and a lot of people never get to see that or experience that. You just think, there's a kickoff.
Yeah, they just
I'm like, oh my gosh,
open the
we get to
gates, let
kickoff,
people
we're
in.
done.
All that
game's
stuff
on.
during the timeouts just magically happens.
Yeah.
Pre-game magically happens. All that stuff.
Right. So game management has definitely been the most interesting, but I think the most rewarding for me has been hospitality, just because we're known as the Hospitality Bowl, and every year, whoever I see in those hospitality rooms just goes on and on and on about how great our hospitality is, and that's good to hear.
We've talked on this podcast before about how the Independence Bowl has been a trailblazer of sorts for diversity, especially for women. Missy, even going back before Missy, but Missy, then the third chairwoman in probably 15 years, I believe, something like that. As guys, we believe we know everything. I think it's especially when it comes to sports, and it's not sort of like a mean thing. It's just like, I don't know, maybe that's how we're built. It's sports, this and that, but clearly, women in not just sports have a terrific perspective, an alternate perspective in so many ways that help us. We couldn't do it without them, right? What, in terms of a bowl, in terms of running a bowl and planning a bowl, what is something that maybe a female brings to the table that a man wouldn't think about?
Great question.
That is a good question. I think we may, in general, not to overgeneralize, but
Right. Yeah, and these are just
It's okay. My male pea brain is just sitting. Like, I have not. If you asked me the opposite question, I would have no clue what to say.
maybe a little bit more detailed oriented, and maybe a little more people oriented. We obviously the game is important. Like, let's get the game going. But we, again, with the hospitality and that kind of thing, we want to make sure that everybody is taken care of, down to the coaches' kids and that kind of thing. And so I think you may get a little bit more of that with a female chair. Not across the board, but kind of in general, yeah. You also get to surprise people because, you know, when they meet, you know, you and your husband or whatever, they'll assume that he's the football guy, and you're like, it's actually, I mean, he is too, but, you know, I also know what a touchdown is. You know?
That's awesome.
What is this field goal thing you speak of? Like, I know what that is. So.
I mean, it's great. I mean, it's, you know, we need that in the sports world in so many different ways, and I'm glad that Shreveport has been on the map for this, and the Independence Bowl has been in. But it is different, and it's awesome. I mean, it's really neat.
Yeah, I'm proud that we have, you know, we talked about it on social media, on, you know, and things we sent. Last week was the first female to female succession of chair of the Independence Bowl. Plus, obviously, Missy is the executive director of this bowl. I think that's something to be extremely proud of. What is it like to be a part of that kind of history?
Well, it's very cool. It's also kind of a lot of pressure. You don't want to mess it up, right? You know, and I would be lying if I said I didn't have a little bit of imposter syndrome when I first, you know, when they first put me in the lineup, because, you know, that's a lot. But
yeah,
no, it's incredible.
But you know, it's funny looking back on it. When I was coming up through the lineup and working with Trey and trying to figure out, hey, who else can we get into leadership? I think it speaks to a lot of the bowl, the board and executive committee, and when they see talent, they really want to go after it. I remember, you know, I asked Claire to be, you know, in the lineup, and I think she said no the first time, you know, to me, just because of timing things, and but like your name kept coming up. It's like, we need to, like, if Sarah wants to be in the lineup, let's, you know, we need to ask her, because she is, you know, more than qualified. She volunteers for everything. She knows football. She loves the community. Let's get her involved. I think it's really cool to see, you know, Claire, you know, in the year that she had, and then you obviously were like, it's like unanimous support for you in this role.
Well, that's another really great thing about this board, is that the imposter syndrome that I referenced is coming from me, not from anyone outside of that. You know, we've had extremely supportive board, foundation members, executive committee members. Like, everybody's been so kind, and I've never picked up on a hesitation from anyone, you know, about, you know, being a female in the role. So.
And the thing is, this lays the groundwork for if someone was uneasy about, oh, you know, it's going to be tough for a female to get in a business like this, seeing Missy and seeing Claire. And Shreveport is, and the Independence Bowl is a special place in terms of bowls. Not the only one, but one where women can probably feel more comfortable to get in the lineup, like you were saying, Art. And I think this is just going to pay off for generations, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah, I hope so.
I always wonder, because it seems like, you know, at our annual meeting last week, we set the chair for 2028.
Correct.
Is it a long 3 years leading up
just
to it, or does it go by fast and you get to your year and you're like, oh my God, it's here?
It's kind of both, but mostly I refer to it as the long-term anxiety ramp up, you know, like, how many ways could I screw this up? But I feel like you need that, right? Like, otherwise you don't have time to learn all of the inner workings of the game, and I say the game, of the whole foundation and everything else that goes on.
I want to know, is being the chair for the Independence Bowl tougher than being the wife of a referee?
I was going to ask that question too.
Because I've known Trey for a long time, seen him on Friday nights, see him on Saturday nights now at the Rougarou, and especially in this day and age in social media, that job
You
sucks.
reffing the Rougarou game?
Yes.
He's
I mean, that job can suck.
Art's
And
supposed to be kicking for him.
And I can imagine,
Could be.
and I can imagine what it would be like to be the wife of, or the husband if it was a female referee, but the significant other of a referee. It's got to be interesting.
There can be some noise, you know, but you just kind of you just ignore it. The people love to comment on things they don't understand. I say that in my job too. Like, I oftentimes, you know, represent people that are unpopular, and everybody has a thought about it. You know, and I always say people love to comment on things they don't understand or know the first thing about. So,
When y'all watch games, does he make comments?
Oh, constantly.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't
Is that
actually
annoying?
watch the plays. We just watch the placement of the referees to
Right.
see if
Yeah.
he's standing up in the right spot. I'm like, well, that was a touchdown. Did you see it? He was way behind the line. I'm like, okay. Takes all the fun out of it.
He probably does actually watch the All-22 art.
Yeah.
Yeah, does he watch the All 22?
The what?
He watches the All 22.
Yeah.
The
Versus
whole
the
field
film.
view.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He used to make me watch all of the plays back when he was doing his own film, and I finally limited him to 5 plays. I said, pick your favorite
He's the
5,
best.
and then or least favorite 5. We can analyze them together, but I'm not watching every single snap.
Are you glad you're following these footsteps into the Independence Bowl and not the refereeing footsteps?
Yes, those pants would not do good things for me. So. he has suggested before that I would maybe be good at replay.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because I always think I'm right or.
So other than, all the things we listed coming up this year, what are some of your goals for this year? Could be the smallest thing possible. What are some of the things that you want to get accomplished this year?
Well, I think, as I mentioned in my speech at the annual meeting, I think 2 of the main things are the sponsor either renewal or, whatever direction that goes. But really trying to get that sponsor deal worked out, and then the conference negotiations, of course. Those feel like the 2 most overarching things for the bowl long term. We're already kind of working on some possibilities for the kickoff dinner.
Yep.
That could potentially be very exciting. I always think that's a really important event to kind of set the tone for the year. So that is really important to me. I also want to make sure that our membership stays high, and I would like to see increased membership. I always want to see that. It's not necessarily specific to my year, but we do a lot at the foundation. It's not just a bowl game, as you know, because y'all are at all these things. But the crawfish boil, the fish fry, all those things, they're really fun, and they're really family friendly. And I just think it would be great to have some more people in the community come to those and be talking about the foundation throughout the year. So those are kind of some other things.
Do you guys still do the trivia night? Do you have a trivia?
We don't do the trivia night
don't do it?
anymore.
It's good. Was a good event.
Trey's going to be off the hook. Then I was going to ask if you didn't have to pick Trey, would you pick Trey for a trivia team?
I've been on a team with Trey and Sarah,
Yes.
and if I had to pick, I would pick Sarah over Trey.
I think there was a reality TV section on that one, so that one is definitely going to be me. No, he's terrible at trivia. I'll be honest.
And he's one of the smartest guys I know.
Yeah.
Trivia
I'm
is
awful at trivia.
Very smart.
Except
very bad at trivia.
only thing I have is sports. Like that's the only category. If me and my wife go play trivia, I've got nothing
until the sports
category.
It's all right.
But then it's a lot of pressure on me because it's like, well, I got to nail this because I haven't done anything the rest of the night.
You're the sports guy.
Right.
Yeah.
I do. I will ask this question because I think you are one of the funniest people that I know and that I follow. What are you watching these days when you do have time to watch TV?
Yeah, well, the Bachelor finale was last night, kind of lackluster.
I got to catch up on that.
Do you have any comments on it?
No.
No? Okay.
No, I don't even care enough to comment this season. It's really sad. Married at First Sight. That is kind of a guilty pleasure right now.
Oh, we got some. I got to talk some dirt after this.
Yes.
It is over.
Okay.
Yeah, those are really the 2 that I'm kind of.
Okay.
Oh well, Real Housewives.
Yeah.
Kind of embarrassing.
I'm off my game on all the reality shows. I used to watch them all.
Married at First Sight Chicago was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll take that.
Where's that
conversation
one on?
offline. Lifetime.
Is it Lifetime? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Worth a watch.
Okay.
You know, my brother was on. He really wasn't on it, but he was a part of. Love
I
is
saw him a
Blind.
couple
He was on
times.
there.
About what?
He was on Love is Blind.
No.
I watched
Charlotte,
that season.
the Charlotte one.
No.
Yeah, he was involved with
Not
that.
know this.
Yeah, I saw him a couple times.
I
Yeah,
did
he was there at
too,
the
yeah.
beginning, and then
Did it work out for him?
No, thank goodness, from my older brother's standpoint. But he loved the experience.
Wow,
he absolutely loved the
that's
experience.
cool.
He was there like a week and a half in the pods.
That's
I do
cool.
love Love is Blind. I didn't watch the last season. Couldn't get into it. But.
Art would have been a great, obviously not now, but a Bachelor candidate.
No, I'd have been terrible.
No.
Oh yeah.
No,
think you'd
I'd have been terrible because I'd have been like, the game's on. Y'all did talk amongst
You guys got a
yourselves.
TV?
But that's how,
Yeah.
that's how you would have found your girl.
That's true.
Who sticks
That's
with
true.
you.
One
Yeah.
rises from the rest.
Yeah, anybody want to watch college football from 11 a.m. to when Hawaii gets done playing at 3 a.m.?
What do you mean we got a group
Right.
date today?
Yeah.
And really focus
Yeah.
on the kicker.
Yeah.
You really focus on the snap, the hold.
Yeah.
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 That would have been great. So what what do you when you go to a game? What's your sport of preference? What game, if you're going to go attend a game, what would it be?
Are you asking me what team?
Or yeah, sport or team, whatever.
Football. I do not keep up with or understand baseball. That is just not my lane. I enjoy basketball when we get to March Madness, but no, football. It's Texas A&M football.
Okay.
That's where I went to college. For anybody listening that doesn't know.
How is it
Not
being
everybody's
involved in a
perfect.
cult?
They tell us it's not a cult. They tell us we can leave whenever we want.
They tell us we
Are you wearing the class ring?
Of course I am.
Okay.
Wow.
Never go anywhere without it.
Yeah.
Gig 'em.
There you go. See?
So when we're sitting there in March 2026, are you and Trey gonna be having like legacy conversations of who is the better chair?
Look, it's gonna be easier if I just tell him who was the better chair, regardless of whether he was or not. Yeah. We'll just
That's
tell
a
him
good
he was
move
better.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's gonna be good.
Yeah.
She's
She's-
gonna
yeah.
be good.
Chess, not checkers.
You guys got anything else for Sarah?
No, I'm interested. It's I like I like giving Trey a little bit of noise, and obviously I don't know you well enough to do it, so it's gonna be fun to watch without picking on you like I do Trey. So,
I can take it.
but now I get a glimpse of Trey being a lucky guy and how he's.
Podcast has turned into Trey.
Right. But like going to Eric's point, is he going to be the one with the better legacy? That's a good question.
There's
I
a lot
can't
of
wait
healthy
to see that.
competition. in
Be
there.
like Jordan versus LeBron debates.
Yeah.
Sarah versus Trey.
When you were asking what do you want to accomplish this year, I imagine really, and you can say it, you want to get your teams to the field after they're announced. Probably that would probably be the first.
Historically, I didn't know we had to mention that, but yeah, I would actually like the people that we select to be on the field on game day.
Yep.
There is a lot of pressure on Trey, though, seriously, because Daryl, being the first man of the chairmanship last year, took a lot of pictures, took a lot of video. Claire was everywhere, so Trey has a lot to live up to. Social
Not a good
media,
photographer.
you got it. Oh boy,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to bring a friend for that or something. Have one of my
because
sisters come.
Daryl did a heck of a job
did.
promoting Claire last
He
year.
did.
It was great.
Yeah.
Good luck, Trey.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah, thank you for joining us. Thank you guys for listening to the Inside the Eyeball podcast presented by the Shreveport Bossier City Advocate. Remember to watch us on YouTube, listen and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts, and we will see you next month.